Going over to the political part podcast, Kamala Harris went on a sex podcast called Call Her Daddy. And funny enough, the blunders are actually getting more views than the original content. And their ratio, or rather the ratio of the original one, is so negative in terms of likes, dislikes. It is actually makes my show look phenomenal in comparison. So there's that. Now this comes to us originally thanks to End Wokeness on the good old X, which he says, quote, "This is what Kamala Harris is doing while bodies are still being found in North Carolina, a sex podcast," which, yeah, it is fascinating to see. And again, this gal who has her own podcast is extremely successful. It's one of the top podcasts out there. She's, multimillionaire. And in terms of, what things do you want to talk to Kamala about? You want to talk about, perhaps the implications of capital gains tax increase, taxing people on things taxing people on things they don't already own, taxing people on, certain business taxes. You're a very successful entrepreneur, and you think you want to talk about that? Nope, not at all. So, no one's too surprised. This is one of the most popular highlights. It's only about 30 seconds long, which admittedly is probably longer than most people want to watch the Call Her Daddy podcast. Well, most people, because mostly mentally vacuous. But we'll hear what they have to say. Let's see. Looks like apparently a lot of people are making fun of the host of the show because she actually, I don't know who, I don't know if she deserves an F minus or a negative score in terms of her fashion acumen. Now, granted, she normally, I guess, says barefoot and just kind of laying around the office in sweatpants. In this terrible amalgamation of fashion, the interviewer, the host of the show, Call Her Daddy, she has heels on. So, okay, that's professional. I approve. When I suit up, I always have my fancy dress shoes on. All right. More accurately, my, clean Cole Haans. She has dress pants on. And then she has a purple sweater. Like, the weirdest combo of fashion I've seen in many years, which is saying something. And then you have Kamala Harris over there. I wonder if she has the earrings that are the size of Volkswagen. A lot of people think are microphones, or her $70,000 necklace. But let's hear what they have to say.
Just, daddy gang, to put it in our TikTok terms. I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, "Do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know how, do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our," and they don't know the answer.
I was the first vice president or president to ever in office go to a reproductive health care clinic.
You mean an abortion clinic? That's the average American probably doesn't appreciate that. Though, again, for her demographics and her show and Kamala Harris's average voter, they probably do applaud that. Remember at the DNC, they had an abortion mobile outside the convention center in Chicago. Also gave vasectomies away. They went from safe, legal, and rare to here's a bus you can do it right outside the convention, which shows how extreme they've become throughout the past couple decades. It's quite concerning. Now, it is funny they mentioned men don't know anything about tampons, all this kind of stuff. Well, this is coming from the party that cannot define what a woman is. I would have loved to have been one of those people they've asked, like, "Do you know where these go?" I would simply ask, did you assume I'm a man? They would ask them to define woman, in which they would pontificately be, they would actually know the opposite. They'd be unable to articulate or pontificate anything because, again, they cannot define what a woman is. And this short little clip went pretty viral, got 4.2 million views, as well as 45,000 likes, which, yeah, in terms of moves on the political chessboard, maybe this does help Kamala because, again, the IQ level, the average audience of a sex podcast, when you think about, things parties are affiliated with and what they care about. The average female voter for this election of her demographics, the podcast host, they don't really care about the border or the economy. The number one thing they care about is abortion. Which, again, Kamala is very much pro-abortion. Tim Walz, former governor of Minnesota, they allow it all the way up to birth. And even after, in the case where it's an botched abortion, they make a decision, so to say. Which, yeah. So for them, it might reinforce reasons to make sense to talk on a sex podcast. But, yeah, not something you see most suited up politicians doing. I wonder how many people in the kind of, libertarians or politically alienated folks in the middle are going to see this and go, "Well, now I want to vote for Kamala. Now it seems like a great idea." Or does it just further galvanize people who are already going to vote for her? Maybe they're more confident now that she's reinforced her positions in that regard. But let's go to the comments. Let's see what people have to say. Scrolling down, the first one comes from Mr. Bigglesworth Memes, which, A+, they did in fact respond in meme form today, saying, quote, "She's terrible. She's not going to save America like Trump would." This picture of Trump, it says, "If Trump was going to hurt America, he would have done it during his first term. There's a picture of Kamala. Says if Kamala was going to help America, she would have done it in her first term. That got 878 likes. Basically, Beatles' worst memes also says, look at this disrespect. This picture of Kamala says, when your belt costs more than what you're giving hurricane victims. Looks look, what kind of belt is this? Which is, gosh, such a waste of money. Maybe I'm just frugal. Last time last belt I bought was 10 years ago. Which, yeah, I'm also a guy. I don't think guys really. I think you can give them as a gift every 10 years from like family members. You get a nice leather belt. But geez Louise. So Kamala apparently is wearing a belt that cost, maybe this is list price on a car. So who knows if they actually paid this. I mean, talk about, I guess it's an appropriate name for the belt. The buckle is in the shape of an H. It's called the Mini H belt buckle, and it's reversible. Ooh, double the value. It costs and this is a company name or brand, Hermes. Costs $770 for a belt, which is a great metaphor for politicians and a lack of fiscal responsibility. Which again, there are some Republicans who are, they spend money like there's no tomorrow as well. Don't get me started. But geez Louise, a $770 belt. Are they just trying to rub it or like just spite Americans? Be like, we don't have to try to relate to it at all anymore. Like we're just gonna lean into it. He also has that necklace that costs more than a Corvette. Like it was a $77,000 necklace. Which, geez Louise, I can't. So much money on jewelry is just to me so mentally vacuous. But partially digress. I did get 1.1 thousand likes, and we do have some contrarian statements brewing to the surface. Paul Zupa says, quote, Kamala Harris has no shame. She's vile, getting 445 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, Kamala Harris is a disgrace, getting 900 likes. We also have this very suspicious gentleman, apparently human. His name is, the hashtag is for human unity. Ironic, he's a leftist who posts a lot of hate about Trump, but he wants us to unify. I say he's allegedly a human because his profile picture, looks weird. Granted, not much ground to stand on, but his name is human. It has a peace sign, American flag sign, or American flag emoji, Ukrainian emoji, another American flag emoji, and a blue wave emoji. And he says, let me expand this out a little bit. He wrote a little bit of a paragraph, but I'll read it. He says, what a load of absolute rubbish. Harris has been in front and center of the hurricane recovery. She's made several trips to the state, evaluating the damage firsthand, sat through briefings, and made federal aid flowing. A sex podcast? Seriously, this episode tackled crucial issues like, oh, jeez. Sorry, I said that, not he. I'll try to read it completely. He says, seriously, this episode tackled critical policy issues like reproductive rights. But you cherry pick the one clip and downplay the entire conversation. That's dishonest. Politicians constantly juggle media appearances and crisis management, and twisting her priorities represent her relentless focus on disaster relief. Remember, it's $750 per family, but we just gave $8 billion to Ukraine like a week before, and $340 million to Libya, which not to be pejorative about, if you went to American public school, I guess I wouldn't blame you. Most people can't point to that on a map. If you're getting almost $200 billion total to Ukraine, granted, this also cashes, physical armament and other physical things. But yeah, granted, mentally vacuous human, but he did get 19 likes. I do laugh when they say reproductive rights because, again, for this election, the number one thing when they're talking about when it comes to reproductive rights, quote unquote, is abortion, which is a big topic in the United States. People on the left and the right use it to raise funds every campaign cycle. But again, that's been relegated to the states. So the president, when it comes to that particular topic, it doesn't matter who gets in office. Unless you want to override the Supreme Court or pack the Supreme Court, or, I guess they've threatened to do that as well. But again, it's relegated back to states. If you don't have abortion up to 9 months plus, you can have that. They have it in Minnesota. If you're more, pro-life, you think life begins at conception, if you think there should be more limitations, you can go to great, places like, Florida, or some might argue the great state, or some might argue the great country of Texas. Again, if you want to make change, go to Hobby Lobby, get some nice high-quality poster board, and peacefully let your opinion be known. Gather some signatures, and let your local representatives know. Because, again, it's a state's issue. It is so dishonest that they're using this, especially on the left right now, to get people to go vote and donate to Kamala Harris. Because, again, the Supreme Court has spoken. I don't know how many times we need to drive this home, but literally does not matter who's in the White House. If Trump wins, nothing's going to change in that regard on a federal level. He's reaffirmed that multiple times in addition to legal precedent we already have. But again, that being said, Mr. Alleged, I can't help but think this has to be a robot. His name is human. That just seems too suspicious. Let's say this alleged human did get 19 likes, which is yet another reason or a reminder to like this video to see if we can get more likes than this alleged human. Going back, let's see here. Let's see. Well, we'll see who responded to human. Steve, again, these are comments responding to this alleged human, says, this is the perfect example of why social media needs tighter rules. These accounts should be banned. Getting 2 likes, which I don't think they should be. More speech, the better. More different thoughts and opinions, the better. Let the best ideals brew to the surface. Let's have a debate, even if this person is just trolling. DB says, DB1776 says, quote, everyone outside of Team Blue knows that Kamala does photo ops and fake rallies. She's an empty suit for the regime. That's Obama, and that's really running. FFS, he's on record saying he'd love to be in charge from his basement, speaking through a frontman in an earpiece. Fact check, true. He said that a couple years ago. It's kind of funny to see it come to life. Kamala Harris also, during these recent town halls, she pretended to answer questions from people in the audience. She's reading off a teleprompter, so the questions were, of course, pre-planned, and her responses were canned as well. It's why every time you see her in an impromptu, which again is very rare, they usually keep her locked away behind closed doors. When she actually gets in front of a camera and has to improv or be authentic, I mean, her speaking acumen is worse than mine, which is saying something. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. So pretty much all the comments are ratioing the human, not by number of likes, but the number of comments. Going back to the main comment section, we also have, let's see. Florida 1 says, you think she might be interested in funding FEMA as Florida is about to get another Cat 3, Cat 4 hurricane. It's a quote from Mayorkas where they warned that FEMA might not have enough to make it through the hurricane season after they spent $640.1 million on illegals. Yeah. Again, Biden, he has a couple quotes that I think are true. Biden once said that if you want to see what someone cares about, look at their budget. I can't agree with Biden in that regard, because when I look at the U.S. budget, how much goes overseas, countries we can't even point to on a map, and how much little money stays here to help us, I can't think our politicians don't give a damn about us. And there are some on the left and the right who do that to us. Yeah, billions for other countries, couple million for the hurricane folks. Also, all these countries you keep giving money to, interesting how none of those countries have offered to help us with this hurricane. None of them have offered aid, flown in materials, flown in supplies. I mean, just for PR alone, they should be. I mean, that'd be a smart move on the political chessboard. And yet, nope, they couldn't even be bothered to help. Well, let's see. We'll do 1 or 2 more comments. Western Lensman says her contempt of the victims of this natural disaster could not be more clear, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Spitfire says she is an epic disaster. No one with a functioning brain would vote for her, getting 3.7 thousand likes. Well, she should also add, or be alive. There's a lot of dead people who, interestingly enough, do get out the vote. Anti-woke memes, good name, they did in fact respond in meme form. Said Kamala Harris should be ashamed. It's a picture of a little girl crying with a puppy in a hurricane. It says 175 billion for Ukraine, 310 billion for Israel, 574 million for Taiwan, $750 for her, getting 540 likes. Let's see here. Perhaps one of the best juxtaposition of 2 pictures. Anti-left meme says deport every last illegal alien immediately. There's a picture of a broken family, a family surrounded by broken materials in the hurricane, and it says $750, and it's juxtapositioned with a picture of an illegal alien flipping, using both hands to flip off the camera. It says $2,500, which this this illegal alien assaulted police officers, I believe it was in New York, and then they released him, on like no dollar bail or $0 bail, and then he's just flipping off the cameras and he's being arrested. Of course, they let him go. Yeah, $2,500. I think it's $2,500 per month. Why did he pay taxes again? They also got 567 likes. So, yeah, Kamala Harris is going on. She's going on a lot of talk shows past week. Yeah, I mean, but I can't help but wonder: is it really helping her, or are they just doing it so they can say, "Oh yeah, she's gone on interviews. She has been locked up the whole time or hiding the whole time." But let me know. Do you think overall did this help Kamala? Did it just kind of just further galvanize people's opinions about her? Did it really change your hearts and minds? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.